G'day Groovers, welcome back to the Shitty Kitty Kitchen. I thought I would just do a quick video because I did a little cooking segment last night. Cooking in Captivity. And while I was chatting to some of the people in chat, we were talking about alternatives to fresh food products. That if you're out shopping and starting to stockpile in case you end up in lockdown or quarantine, just some ideas of things that you may not normally buy for your kitchen, for your pantry, that are going to have a much longer shelf life than the fresh food that we already love and enjoy. Because the reality is, for 2 weeks, if you buy fresh food, it should still last in your fridge for that period of time. But once, if your lockdown or your quarantine extends beyond that point, those sorts of fresh food items are no longer going to be that great. Not a problem if they're getting a bit yucky. Chop them all up and make a vegetable soup or a chicken veggie soup, whatever you like, and then you can freeze portions of that to have as well. But I thought I'd just run through a few things that I bought today. I haven't gone nuts with my house. I had a look at my pantry and did a bit of a stock take, and I know that I can extend a lot of what I've got in my pantry already, which is just that little cupboard there, the top part. That's my pantry. It's not huge. But I do have a 5 kilo bag of rice here that I bought about 3 months ago. I was going to give it to my sister when I went keto, but I kept it because I figured if friends came over for dinner and I was cooking them a curry, I'd like to be able to give them some rice to have with it. So I'm pretty good in terms of my food stocks. I still need to get a little bit more cat food for Biscuit. There's enough for her at the moment if we were in lockdown as of tomorrow. But if we're not locked down for like another couple of weeks, I probably won't have enough. So I need to top that up this week. But I did go and grab a few items this morning. I had a bit of a think about alternatives for people, and some of these tips might be handy. Don't feel like you've got to buy everything I'm recommending. It's just a response to, some people saying, I don't know what to buy. And I found in my shop that these things were still in like pretty major supply. I didn't go to a major supermarket. I went to my local IGA. And like I said, if you can't get everything, don't freak out. But these are just some ideas I had that I thought I should share with you. Because for some reason, these products are still available where I live. Hopefully some of them are available where you are. So first up, people that, the big supermarkets have been running out of milks and so on. But if you can find a UHT long life milk, definitely grab, depending on how many people are in your household, but definitely grab some of that because it lasts obviously in your pantry a lot longer than fresh milk, and it's nice to be able to have your cuppa how you like it if you're locked down for a few weeks. I do think there's going to be a major shift of people moving on to herbal teas and black coffees at some point. But yeah, if you can find some long life milk, I'd recommend you get that. Interestingly, although the dairy milks were available where I was, I know that a supermarket I was at last week, there were no milks in terms of, your full cream dairy. None of these products have sponsored me, by the way. But yeah, all the dairy, like the cow's milk was out, but there were plenty of alternatives like coconut milks and so on. Now I always have coconut milk in my pantry, but I just thought I'd show you that. Have a look at the other ones. I mean, there's lots of different nut milks. There's an oat milk. Obviously almond milk's a very popular one. Even soy milks still seem to be on the shelves in the big supermarket, even though most of the supermarket was empty. So that's another alternative. You don't have to go coconut, but just have a look in the long life milk aisle. And also, because I do keto, I grabbed a little 4-pack of these. They're a long life cream, so that I can try it. I'm not probably going to end up having to, it's probably not going to be possible for me to stay keto if we end up being quarantined or locked down for a long time. But, for a couple of weeks to be able to have some cream and use that in my cooking and so on. So that's also something to keep an eye out for. Now onto your fresh items, because I've said it a couple of times now, the thing I think I'm going to struggle with is once I've eaten all the fresh food in my house, what can I do? How can I get veggies keep them in my diet? And there's things like this. This was actually, I used part of this last night in a curry, but I've never bought these. I mean, people that do antipasto probably have sliced capsicum or pepper bells, in a pickle in their houses already, but I don't usually buy this. I love the fresh stuff, but as an alternative, get something like that, a jar of pickled capsicum. Now I did put it in my curry last night. It wasn't as crunchy obviously as fresh, so I missed out on having that bit of crunch, but in terms of flavour and everything, they were a really good alternative. So have a look maybe for something like that. Biscuit's got the zoomies. My cat's a shitty kitty right now. So that's one suggestion. Obviously things like tomatoes, you know, anything fresh that you like having in your house. Obviously an alternative is to grab some semi-dried tomatoes. These were already in my fridge. I use them a lot already, but yeah, for tomatoes, obviously tin tomatoes, but again, a lot of the canned tomato shelves in footage I've seen from supermarkets that still have a bit of stock, things like canned tomatoes are gone, so consider these as an alternative. And anything that you cook where you would normally use tomatoes, pop these in, and they're not going to be the same, but they might actually become something that you become really fond of. Now I did buy these. I don't know if my theory is right, but I bought some pickled onions because when you're cooking with onions, I do actually have fresh onions still, but if my onions run out, my theory is I can possibly soak some pickled onions overnight in water and it might take the vinegar away a bit. I don't really care, to be honest. If I had to fry up an onion, I'd be happy just to slice one of these straight up and put it straight into the pan. But if you're not a fan of vinegar, maybe soaking them overnight might make them a bit less vinegary and you can possibly cook with these. Don't know. I'll keep you posted on that. Next time I need to cook up some onions, we'll use these and see. Another thing that I did see, even though a lot of canned stuff is selling very quickly, canned potatoes. And I saw someone the other day doing some pantry cooking, making tuna patties using a tin of tomatoes and a tin of potatoes and mushing them up together with some herbs and probably a bit of butter or something, or an egg. I don't know what she used, but I just heard her saying that she'd tried making them. So yeah, if you're into that kind of stuff, obviously if you can buy a big fresh bag of potatoes, grab them. They will sustain your family for a long time. You can make so much different stuff with potatoes. I personally, I haven't bought any for me because, well, keto, we don't eat them, but also there's no point in me buying a giant sack of spuds. But if you can get some, grab them. Where I live, we have stalls on the side of the road where farmers put their produce, so you can literally just get out of your car, go up and grab a bag of potatoes on the side of the road. So if you're a bit paranoid or worried about going into shops, but you've got something like that where you live, maybe go and buy some potatoes because yeah, they stay fresh for a long time and you can do so many different things with spuds. Things like zucchini, I'm just showing this. It's cloudy because when it's refrigerated it's cloudy, but normally this would be, you know, more clear like this kind of thing. These are pickled zucchini slices and onions. And again, you know, if you're making a ratatouille or something and you don't have fresh zucchini, then you can put some of these slices in. And things are going to taste a little bit different. They're not going to taste the same, but you might actually enjoy them more. And so if you do buy some fresh zucchini and onions, maybe make a pickle, which is why I kept this. I pulled this out of the pantry too. Grab some vinegar. Vinegar, if you see any, grab a bottle of it, because not only can you preserve fresh veggies and fruits with it, but you can also use it for cleaning and a heap of other stuff. I'll probably do some fun little videos like, you know, 100 ways to use vinegar and stuff like that, but that if you can find vinegar, that would definitely be worth grabbing. For flavour, some of my friends were chatting the other night saying I'd be happy just to make a tuna pasta and eat that for the next month, and then I sort of was like, yeah, but you want a bit of flavour in it. So just some suggestions for different types of flavouring. Baby capers, flavour, adds so many great pops of flavour, and you don't need to use many, and these jars last in your fridge for a long time. Or if you're like me, I always have jalapenos. The one that I've actually got in my fridge only has about 6 left in it, so I did buy another jar of jalapeno peppers. But I'm also growing some, and when they're big enough, I'll pick all the ones that I've grown. But again, for adding flavour to a dish, chop up jalapenos and put it through your dish. It lifts it and gives it flavour. And if we are pantry eating, we probably do want some nights of punchy food if we can come up with some ideas. Also mentioned on my cooking segment, oh, I don't know what I've done with it. Here we go. I don't normally buy these because I always get the fresh versions, but grab things like this, crushed ginger in a jar, or finely minced garlic. Hang on, everything's back to front. Finely minced garlic, because things like this, again, pop them in your pantry. Once you've opened them, pop them in the fridge, but they've got a much longer shelf life, and again, that's going to add some flavour to you. But yeah, I don't normally buy these. These were two things that I bought when I came up with the idea of doing some cooking in captivity classes. Oils is selling out really quickly as well. Pardon me, in the major supermarkets. So keep an eye out for coconut oil. You can get coconut oil that doesn't have a flavour. I mean, this is just a jar that I grabbed from Coles. I went to the cooking oil section in Coles and they were completely out of coconut oil, every kind of oil. So then I went to the international food aisle and there were shitloads of jars of coconut oil. So that's always a really good alternative. Another thing which I bought because I started keto and they recommended it is this liquid coconut oil MCT. And weirdly, I bought this from Discount Chemist Pharmacy. So, and they had jars of coconut oil in there too. This stuff, the MCT stuff, I wouldn't say necessarily get it because it can upset your stomach. But if you can find some liquid coconut oil, that's an option as well. And then obviously sort of simple family meals. I did grab a jar of this just for this, the point of this show. If you've got some pasta in your house, I mean, again, I'm keto, I don't eat pasta, but I can easily use this in a casserole or a soup or something else. But a bake, but these little jars of pasta sauces, and you know, and then just grab a little packet of pasta. Again, pasta seems to be very low on shelves. I'm kicking myself now that I don't have a pasta maker. Not that I eat it, but I'd love to do a class to show everyone how easy it is to make pasta. A little jar of that, and I didn't even know this stuff existed, but I grabbed one anyway. This is a grated Parmesan cheese that doesn't need to be refrigerated. I actually found this on a shelf. I did also grab one of these, which is very much from my childhood. Remember this, the stinky cheese? But these sort of cheeses, rather than getting a fresh cheese out of the deli section, have a look on the shelves and see if you can grab those, because I thought they might be really handy. And basically this, you know, this cheese, a jar of this, some tuna, throw in a few capers and, well, there's your sauce and your capers and your tuna, make that, cook up your pasta, and then this shelf life cheese on top. Happy family. And speaking of cheese, this is my last tip for this video. If you see any of this sort of stuff around, Philadelphia cream cheeses, things like that, these last way longer than other types of cheese. This one's got a use by date of the 2nd of July 2020. Obviously you can make the cheesecake while you're stuck at home if you want, just like the one on the box perhaps. But these are fantastic, I find, for you know, putting on toast just to give it a bit of extra flavour, or if you just want that little bit of cheese sort of taste. Great to cook with. You can mix it through stuff like on keto, they do a lot of stuff with cream cheese, but I just thought that was another product worth recommending because it has got such a long lifespan compared to your cheddars and things like that, which need to be eaten usually in a couple of weeks. So there's some tips for cooking in captivity, I nearly said. There's some ideas for cooking in captivity, just some things that you might want to pop on your shopping list if you're a bit confused about what to buy. Don't go nuts, there's enough food around. And when I went to the shop just before, as soon as I got there, there's a hand sanitizer pump as you walk in. everyone's required to use that. I actually took my own shopping bag, and don't go, well, I've been doing that forever. So have I. But what I did, I took my own shopping bag. I went around and put the things I wanted to buy in it, went up to the counter, took all the stuff out, put the bag on the other side, filled it back up. Leaving the shop, did the hand sanitizer again, came home, and the first thing I did was put that bag in the wash just in case it was on a surface or something. Now, I'm being overly cautious, but that was a tip I read about yesterday when I was doing a recorded story for print radio, and I thought, well, I'll see what it's like doing that, and it was easy peasy. So rather than using a basket or a trolley, if you've only got to get a few items, take your bag in and actually just put everything into your own bag, put it on the counter, fill it back up, hand sanitize, home you go. So there's some tips. Please put any comments under the videos if there are any things you would like more tips about. But there are a few ones that I think will certainly help stretch out your pantry a bit further over the next few weeks. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. And yeah, please hit the like button on your way out. Thanks, guys.